All right, so welcome again. This webinar is about MSIX and MSIX compatibility. Let's do a quick introduction. So my name is Martin Curtis, and I am founder of Yuan Cloud. I've been in IT more than 20 years, and I've been wearing multiple different hats over those years, but mainly I've been always related either to application or device management. So either that will be migrations, rating system updates, and so on and on. But in recent years, I moved more into cloud and either building cloud solutions or migrating customers into cloud, as well as developing either some cloud applications. And with me today, I have Toms. So let me see if he can you hear me, Toms? Can you introduce yourself quickly? We can't hear you. Hello, Toms? All right.
Hi.
There you are.
You hear me?
Yeah. Hey.
Okay. My name is Toms Knostenbergs, and right now I'm a co-founder for Master Packager company, and we built software for application packagers and IT administrators to solve common packaging issues. So yeah, that's about it in short from my side.
All right, thanks. So agenda for today's webinar will be that we're going to go through a little bit about MSIX. I'm going to touch base what it is from my opinion, my perspective, and then I'm going to build MSIX application and show you some of the best practices. During that, I'm going to show you some of the problems that we're going to find, as well as we're going to fix some of them. Then we're going to show you how Master Packager is working. Therefore, I have a Toms with me today. And I'm going to give you some of the hints as well and recommendations how to build MSIX applications and how to have a better success rate. Of course, I'm not going to wait till end. I'm going to do that during the webinar session as well. So I'm going to do that all the way along. All right, so MSIX. I like this picture a lot because it exactly explains what it is in more like what Microsoft is trying to do. So they're trying to combine all of these technologies that we've been using as a packagers over the years into one, which is MSIX. So if you've been packaging legacy MSIs, virtual, they're trying to create this new MSIX technology, which is great, which is exactly what we always been waiting for, so that we don't have to anymore deal with all of these multiple different types. But when somebody asks me what it is and what I think of it, I always say, MSIX is more for developers. Why I say that is just because we're waiting always on them, on the vendors. As soon as vendors start updating their code, source code with compatible features inside, we'll have a higher success rate on MSIX applications. Because if they don't do that, we are just struggling, and we are not able to either apply specific issue to fix applications. And here are a couple limitations that I want to highlight that you probably are aware as well. So some of them is like if you need to write into the installation directory, then you might have issues. Usually applications do that if you have a log file or some license key or something else. If you don't capture it inside, installation directory is a virtual location, and it is locked, so users don't have ability to do that. Drivers, Office add-ins are not supported in MSIX. App data folder is more like it captures everything that you have in app data folder, but what you need to do, you need to copy the files from app data folder that you have into other location. And therefore, there is this tool called PSF, or Package Support Framework. I'm not going to show you that today, but you can find it in a Git, and there is some other trainings. I know people on YouTube, and you can find on the network as well how to do that and how to apply some PSF tools. And that's one of the things that we would need to do to kind of copy files from a data folder where they are stored in a virtual to local location on a machine. And I want to bring up this Timothy Mangan's card. He does this every year. He validates applications for compliancy, and I want to show you one slide of it where you can see how he does that and what is percentage on applications to be compliant with MSIX. So if you have virtual applications FV already, as I said, MSIX is as well kind of virtual container type virtualization. And if you had FV applications, you have higher success rate to convert these applications into MSIX. So you can see percentage-wise, 95% of applications that he's been testing successfully being converted, which is great, which means you have the same rules that applies for AppV to MSIX, I mean, limitations. But if you look at the legacy applications that you try to package or capture, or if it's MSI or script, then the percentages are different. So you can see that only 31% of applications are actually compatible with MSIX, and 17 applications are some sort of a compatible, but there you might have some issues, which means it might not work, it might have some issues, or might not have entire functionality. And then 12 and 32% is more like that, probably wouldn't be compatible. If you are a smaller shop, and I mean SMB, then you definitely have higher percentage of applications. And if you have only 70 applications, and these are some not business applications like Adobe, Google, Notepad, and so on, then you definitely have higher success rate. But if you have enterprise applications and you have backends like SAP, some other complex applications, you might have challenges to actually convert these applications to be MSIX. All right, so let me go into my virtual machine. So now I'm going to show you how you can build MSIX applications. So hopefully I'm not going to be repeating that some of you already maybe done. I'll try to show you some of the best practices, how we do that, and as well as highlighting some of the recommendations. So MSIX tool, we're going to use this tool to kind of show you how you can create application. You can install it from the store, and all you have to do, just go install it. And you need, of course, a virtual machine. You can have a Hyper-V machine, or I'm using VMware. And here you have an options either to capture on this machine or remotely, or even with Hyper-V. So you can integrate that. So I'm going to create a new package. So what it does, it goes through validation and checks if my machine is compliant with all of the rules. I already has disabled some Windows features like Windows search, so that it doesn't detect that as one of the requirements to be disabled. And now I'm gonna be selecting the installer. So today I'm gonna install Notepad++, which seems very straightforward, easy application. So I have it here, installer on my machine. And I'm not going to use any arguments. I already configured certificate. So you would need to have certificate to be able to install applications on your machines. And there's a ways how you can do that and create package without it. But afterwards, you still will have to sign MSIX application with cert. Next. And now you can type the package name. So this is unique name. So this is what you have to use always if you want to maintain your application. It doesn't allow you to, and don't put the version in there, because if you would add another version in there, then you won't be able to maintain it. But in here, you can type the information about application. This is more for the users, so they can actually see what is application name when they're going to be installing it. So you can put here version number if you want to maintain it. Publisher as well, I'm going to put you on cloud. And the version, I know somebody been packaging and creating version here as 1.8.8, which would be actually software version, in this case for Notepad. But we don't do that. I always say better use version that you kind of release version. And why I say that is because if you maintain application afterwards and you need to custom something or custom set or configure something, or maybe update the same version with another change, then it will automatically increase the number. Of course, you can change that, Yeah, we always kind of use this as a release number so we know which version is out there. And in here we use kind of package version name. Description, we're not going to put any description, and we're not going to put any installation directory, anything like that. And we're going to click next. So what it does now, it just starts installing Notepad++. So what we need to do, we just need to go through regular installation steps, right? So as I said, I'm using a legacy application. This application is not packaged. I'm just clicking next. I'm not gonna do any configuration settings here. I'll just use a default. Next, and I'm gonna create a shortcut and install. So that's very fast, as you can see, and in other words, it's finished, right? So more or less. I'm not going to run Notepad, and usually best practices for packaging is you can do that, but do that before just to know what the package does. Of course, if you run it, it will generate all of the proper files, add data, and you can disable updates. You can check whatever you need. You can set license key and so on, or configure application accordingly. But what you need to encounter if you run application is that it might capture inside something that you are doing on this particular machine, like your user profile, or it might capture a device name. If it does that, that means your application not going to work for on any other machine. So you should be aware what you actually are doing with your installer. That's why I always say when we package these applications as MSIX, I always say first, know your installer. If you know what it does, where it writes, how it acts, and how it interacts with the users, then you have a higher success rate finishing application as MSIX with higher percentage that it will work. In my case, I'm not going to run it. I don't need to restart anything, and honestly, I'm done. That, as you can see, the capture was so fast. It captured everything what I needed. I'm not going to run it. Yes, move on. There's no services, nothing captured with Notepad++. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to click and open package editor, and I'm going to show you the files and everything. Before I do that, I'm going to save package in this location. And I'm going to open package editor. So it opens exactly the same what we just entered in when we were typing application name. But in here, you can see virtual registries and virtual files. And you can, of course, always expand. So this is all what is captured with packaging, MSIX packaging tool. Of course, you can go in unnecessary registries or features. You can disable it or delete it, like maybe uninstall. You don't need this feature in here. You can go always and clean it up. I wouldn't recommend doing that because first capture, if you do, you want to make sure that everything is maybe working. And if it is, you don't want to start cleaning it up. And MSIX is working as its own virtual bubble. So it means you don't need actually to clean it up because it's not going to interact with your local registries or local file system. And the same goes with files. So these are package files, and you can see everything what it captured. It captured some of data, information, context menu, user settings, plugins, local update, as well as program files and everything that you see in the program files as well. So this is how it captures. So that's why I said know your installer initially. If you do that first and you kind of go through, then you probably will have a higher percentage knowing what exactly you need to do with your package. All right, so I'm done with that. Now I'm going to create my package. I'm going to click create. I'm going to pick Notepad MSIX. Save. All right. So now it successfully created my package, and you saw I didn't do any much editing, and it took us what, like now it's 16 minutes past 9, so which means it took me only maybe six to 8 minutes to capture Notepad++, which is straightforward, right, and very fast. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to copy this Notepad++ package to my location on my virtual machine, and we're going to install it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to revert my machine to previous snapshot, and we're going to install it. All right, go back, revert. Power on machine. All right, let me check quickly what we have in a question Q&A. How many questions? This question has been answered. Yeah, and I can see that Thomas is answering some of the questions in Q&A section. Perfect, thanks, Thomas. All right, so machine is up and running. Let me sign in. And now we're going to install my captured MSIX application. So let me copy it from my host and copy it to my MSIX location in here. And now we're going to install it. So you just double click on MSIX file and it will come up with installer section. So here you can see that's the application name, Notepad 8.1.1. Icon is captured already. That's the version. So that's what I was kind of referring to, the release version. And that's the publisher. So install it. It will take probably as well, maybe, 10 seconds. And it will be automatically installed. Perfect. So one thing I want to bring up right away, whenever you install these applications, you might, okay, so it's installed application. One thing you're not going to see, of course, you're not going to see this application add remove programs. As I said, it is installing everything in a virtual container, and which means you don't see anything in here. There's no Notepad++ installed, even if I open start menu and I can see Notepad++ in here. So to see applications, what you have installed, you need to use a PowerShell, and then you can use the command to open and list you applications that you have installed. So let me go to get the package information. You can type get dash add package. I'm going to looking only for a Notepad because that's the name I used. And here you can see, so here is my application. You can see that it is installed. That's a certificate and publisher. That is the location of my application. So this is a protected area where you wouldn't have access. I mean, as administrators you would, and as packagers you would, but end users, they won't have access to these locations. So you might have issues to telling a support people to say, hey, can you check if Notepad is installed on this machine? And if what I mean is you need to educate your support people as well, or service desk or help desk, so that they know that these applications might be MSIX applications. Because if you tell them, oh, can you go into the machine and make these configuration changes, or something is not working with application, can you maybe reconfigure settings? They will go to program files. They're not going to find it. They're not going to find it in here. So they would need to use the command to see if it's a virtual application or not. And as I said, this is a protected area. You're not going to be able to write here directly or change anything in here. But this is a virtual location of the files and everything that I showed you in package editor when we opened MSIX application. And yeah, so now I have my MSIX application installed. I'm going to start it up, and I'll show you a couple tricks that you can do now, how you can fix something. So perfect, looks great, but there's always hidden things. So what I mean by that is you always have to go in and ask your end users to test the application fully to know what exactly is working, what is not working. So UATs, user acceptance test, is more important than ever before, because the end users will have to go in and they will have to test every feature, every setting. So one of the things I came across was plugins, right? Which is kind of a common thing. And most of the IT people, they will say, hey, yeah, I can, if I need any plugin, I can go in and I can install it. So one of the most common plugins is Compare, right? Where you would like to go in and install the plugin. Of course, this is not going to work, right? So it's going to fail. Installer will try to run it, but it will give you an error because it just cannot right there. It cannot install anything. So you have to capture these plugins before you even try that, or before you try to create a package. Of course, you can update the package with new plugins and release a new version, and that's how you will be maintaining application. Another thing I want to show you is right click, right? I always get used to that. If I need to open something with a right click in the context menu, I don't see Notepad here. I see just a regular Notepad, WordPad, but there's no Notepad++. So let me show you how you can fix this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fix this one, and I'm going to click edit the package with a tool, and we're going to update the manifest file. Manifest file is the file where you can get interacted and make some changes and required information if you need to interact with something. So what we're going to do in a manifest file, we're going to interact with that, and we're going to update it with required information. I have example here. So one thing that you need to do, you need to copy and update the top section in here. So that's where we're going to update this section. And then you always need to know where exactly you are engaging with the manifest file, or where you're pasting information. So there's a lot of information on Google as well, and you can find and how people are doing that. If something will not work with the manifest, you're going to get an error. So I just updated the manifest file. You can see I don't have any errors, anything, but if I would change something in there and would copy it in the wrong location, it will give me a red error. So that's it. So that's all what I needed to do. I'm not going to change anything else. I'm not going to change the version because it will do that automatically. This is increment. You can see that it automatically created the update version number. There's going to be version 1.01. So now we're going to install it on top of existing application. And this is why MSIX is great, because you can release updates, changes, and release to the users, and either it can be automatically published, or you can install and ask the users to install them themselves. And what I'm doing now is just I'm saying update application. So now I'm installing updated package with a manifest file. Let me close this, go in here, right click, open with. Here we go. So, but what I've done is that I only added that I can open TXT files with Notepad++. So you should always know either if you need to add extensions or something beyond of that. That's how you actually can do that. All right. So like I said, this is the way how you can interact with MSIX, and this is the way how you can fix some of the things in MSIX world. Of course, if you need, you can always go back to MSIX application, and you can educate your users as well. If they need to repair or restore application, they always can go in here, and they can scroll down, reset, repair, and if needed, uninstall. And one more thing I wanted to show you besides location where it keeps where it keeps virtual applications, which is in here. Let me open by, that's our version. There's another location, which is users, my user account, app data, local packages, and this is app data folder. So if I would like to copy these settings into user, if I would have specific app data settings that package rights, I would need to copy these files in here on application execution through the shortcut, and that's why you would need to use PSF tool to do that. All right, so that was showing you how MSIX, how you can create MSIX application. So let me go back and show you what you can do with Master Packager. So I have here Master Packager snapshot, which is already configured. settings that I'm going to show you how you can track some of that through the tool. All right, let me see if there's any Q&A using some. All right. Yeah, thanks, Tooms. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how you can use Master Packager to kind of validate your applications. These guys built the way of check application compliancy. So what I have here is Master Packager. What I want to, before I do anything with that, what I want to mention again is whenever you create application, even if that is a Notepad++, if you run installer, I would suggest you do first, you always create package. Either that would be MSI, or maybe you can wrap out from the exe file, MSI files, or you know where it writes information, or where you, how you need to interact, or so on. So it's always would be recommended, and that's how we always do. When we package MSIX, we always capture everything, and then we try to create MSIX application from that instead of just going blindly with setup exe and praying that it will work. The same goes with AppV. If you convert applications, and I know some guys who's been writing me, oh, I successfully created AppV application, and then it successfully was converted into MSIX. So that's how it's better is working. So if you try that instead of just going as MSIX, you probably will have a higher percentage rate. What I want to show you is a master packager. So these guys, we use them to package our applications. They created a way of validating applications. So here what we have is snapshots. So snapshots are repackaging snapshots. So if I would do the first snapshot of my Notepad++, which would be taking a snapshot of an existing system and then installing Notepad++, and then taking the second snapshot, which captures everything that you actually install in your machine. What it will show you in a master packager is if there is any compliant information inside, something that is not compliant with MSIX. And here I have a second snapshot, and I'll let Toms talk about this. And what it will show you now is that it will bring me up warnings and if there's any errors in my package, and I can validate it through here, validate MSIX compatibility. And as you can see here, what it did, it automatically detected some of the incompatible information in my package. Thomas, do you want to talk about these two? I think we covered context menu already. I showed you how you can do that. Let's see, where is Thomas? Okay, let me unmute you. Yeah. All right, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks. So what you can see right now is that we just look on the captured package, this Notepad++, and as Martin's already explained, we skipped the capturing phase to just make this happen faster. So we already did the first snapshot of the system. We installed Notepad++, and then did the second snapshot. And right now we just comparing these snapshots once again to save time. But you can do just the full system snapshot on your own application. So right now we have this information about what did Notepad++ installation, what it installed basically on the system. And we are checking through all the files and registries and seeing what is compatible with MSIX and what's not. Because as it turns out, MSIX is not fully so MSIX has right now limitations, and basically we gather them from different sources, what they are. And as you can see here, there are two compatible issues here. And the first one is the easiest one, let's say, call it like this, that start menu folders cannot be created on the machine. So actually MSIX, it's not possible right now to create a folder for multiple shortcuts that you can see in start menu. Like it's not supported, like there's no way how we can add that. So for some it will not be an issue, but for some companies that have a lot of applications, these few applications has a lot of these shortcuts, they usually want that these are like combined under one folder. So another issue you can see here is context menu. This one is that what Martin's kind of fixed that by adding this custom line to support this one extension. However, the main limitation, again, that there's no fix out there, is that if you have an application with this wildcard that basically can right click on any file type, you will not be able to see right click and open with this new software. And this is a big issue from my perspective. And like for example, Notepad++, as we know, users are using it for different types of formats, and it's really hard to add all of them and know all of them, the formats, and add to the package. For some companies, maybe it will work, but as far as you just need to know that there is such limitation. And here is so Martin, you want to explain another application?
That's right. Yeah, so what I did Cisco. This is a Cisco application that we had packaged as well, and we just run it through. Yeah.
Yeah. So here you can see as well that drivers, and again, start menu folders are not supported. And in right side, you can see that we show the path to direct that file or registry that is causing this issue. So we are looking into specific files and registries that we know is with limitations under MSIX package. And then there is some that can be fixed, like you can see here, these are warnings. So these are just, hey, be aware, there is some limitation, and here is the path to that issue. And then, Martin, if you could show the URL column, this is the right column, yeah, here. So as you can see here, here are links to some Microsoft documentations explaining this issue. So you can explain to your customers, to your top management, why is that? Like here are the hard proof why is that. However, not everything is documented, and you see that, for example, second issue about the shortcuts, this is actually leading to the Microsoft community. So this is at least a few days ago, we couldn't find this in official source. We could call tech community as well official source. So here it is, and you can see what is not supported, and you can even follow up the conversation when it will be fixed. So this is briefly explaining what you can see in this validation. I can go further and say, can maybe comment why and when to use this, Martin, or you have?
No, that's thanks. Thanks, Tom. Yeah.
Okay, so to continue on this, so when do we want to use this compatibility? So let's imagine as we wanted to capture a Notepad++ and basically build an MSIX package. And what we have seen previously, that IT pros or packaging experts actually do that. However, later on, they understand that some functionality was missing, like this right click on any file format. You couldn't open the file with Notepad++. So someone needed to tell you that this is fixing. And there are tools out there that actually can fix some of the issues automatically. But the issue is that they cannot fix things that like is completely out of reach by developers, and only Microsoft can fix issues like, for example, driver support. No third-party tool or software vendor can fix such issues, because it's deep in the MSIX core where the limitation lays on. So the first option is to basically, you want application A to be captured as MSIX. You do that, you see that it's built, it's launching, and it looks fine. However, the issue is not stopping there. You need to now know either whole application, how it's built, to find out these limitations, where you need to fix them, and which one you actually cannot fix them. So in real case, it would mean if you are new to that new applications, you actually need to almost click every functionality in the application to find out which of the functionalities will not work. Like, for example, in Notepad++, deep in configuration, there is setting, hey, you can install plugin. And when users do that, here's an error. How we could fix that? We either needed to know that application behaves like this, or we need to be a developers. But as again, this is for IT pros and packagers. So this is the usual scenario where if you are feeling lucky and doing from the scratch by tools and trying to convert to MSIX, it will be a lot of effort to find these issues. So what the master packager team, what we did to try to help here, we found out all these limitations that we could found and was documented, and we created a logic to actually find in these captured files and registries where these limitations lies on. And before capturing this with master repackager and running MSIX validation tool, we can actually say, hey, this for sure is incompatible and nothing you can do. This is a warning. And then you can decide, hey, do I still want to go through and convert this to MSIX? Or this is basically a showstopper for us, and we are not continue to try to fix the package as MSIX. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Yeah, thanks, Toms. Yeah, and what I was showing you here as well, that these guys, what they've created, they created a command line support. So what you can do, you can actually run a command line, create a snapshots automatically, and then what it will do for you, you'll generate an output file. An output file will be a CSV file as well, where you would be able to see which application has any issues or not. So that would be as well easy way for you to kind of go back and forth, and then open during a night or whatever, install all applications on a virtual machine, and then go back into the report and check everything. So if your applications are compatible with MSIX or not. And like Tom said, and I've been saying as well, so if you guys trying to build MSIX applications, and whenever we do that, we always try to package, and that's why I was always showing you, we try to package first with standard tools, other tools, or know our installer, either build MSI, build PowerShell, or use either just a regular silent switch on exe file, right? But what you would need to do, you would need afterwards to capture the same things that you did before. Of course, like I said, you can go and you can capture and build all of these applications as MSIX, and majority of them might work, majority not going to work, and you're not going to see that until you actually run either compatibility, as we showed you, or you just look at yourself at some of the issues that you detect in each of these applications. And yeah, so there's, I think in a Q&A section, Toms was referring a lot to these Microsoft sites as well, where you can find either information about the PSF tool, package support framework tool, or as well as what you need to know before you start building and packaging applications as MSIX. All right, so let's ramp this up, and I have a Q&A section now that we're going to try to answer some of the questions that we had been created there. Thank you everyone for joining our webinar. Post some questions in Q&A. We're going to answer those. So hopefully you gained something new and you learned something new in this session. We'll try to keep up with more sessions in the future, trying to show you maybe PSF tooling as well, or other ways of fixing some of that. So yeah, you can reach out always to me. That's my email address. You can reach out to the Toms as well. That's his email address. These guys are pretty good in knowing MSIX